So the Five of Cups is a sadness. It's a loneliness. This talks about an ending of some sort. Oh, sorry. I'm putting my legs Indian style and I knocked the table. This really comes down to some sort of right now not being with somebody either you love, or feeling a sadness or grief because you've, disconnected from somebody and now you're looking forward to meeting somebody else and maybe unsure how to go about it. But the biggest thing with the Five of Cups is that even within the sadness or the loneliness or the kind of, it can either be regret, it can be, for a lot of people, it's more just, where am I going? It's really strange because the Sphere card is turning out to kind of lead the way, especially with your sign being, or your card being the moon. There's something in the moon right there. There's something very strong going on here, Pisces, where you guys are like about to have an epiphany. After this moment, there's like a breakthrough coming for you guys. The next card you have is how you're feeling throughout the month. Yeah, I mean, strength. This is how you're feeling coming into the month. Strength is Leo's card, so you could be dealing with Leo or have Leo placements in your chart. But the biggest thing about strength is it's self-belief. It is strength. It's about patience, and it's about knowing that something will come, even though a lot of you are going, but what the frick? I've been, trying online dating, or I've been, trying to not think about my ex, and it keeps coming up. The kind of stuck almost, or feeling trapped in different energies. And then the Strength card is talking about, but this too shall pass, or the best is yet to come. The path will be, you will see the path. The path will be enlightened in which direction you're going. Just have faith and just believe in yourself and just stay strong, because for a lot of you, maybe the holidays brings up some memories, or, just in general, you're feeling a little bit kind of lull in a lot of different aspects, but especially in, the feeling of wanting some sort of companionship or wanting that love, like a lot of us are, or a lot of us do. The next card you have is your distant past. So over the past 5-10 years, could be throughout your childhood. This feels like this is more the past year or so, because this is a rest, recuperation, exhaustion, relaxation. The Four of Swords talks about regaining mental health, clarity, and could be physical health. The Four of Swords is, releasing any energy, just kind of letting yourself feel, then letting go, and then taking time out. I always consider the Four of Swords a time out card, where you're saying, okay, I'm not going to date anybody. I miss my ex. I'm not going to communicate with them though, because right now I'm taking time for myself. So Pisces, for a lot of you, the reason you're feeling this kind of sadness or loneliness is because you made the decision. And again, like I said, I feel like this is more like the past year or so. You've made this decision to kind of, not do anything, to stay single, to do your own thing, to just recover from anything that you dealt with a past person, and not quite wanting to move forward yet, at that point in the past, year or so, because you needed to be almost reborn into, what is it I want? What do I want in a partner? What am I looking for? What went wrong in the last relationship? And I don't want to rush into anything new, this time. So when it's meant to be, or it's supposed to happen, I'll know. And the next card you have is your immediate past, or the past few weeks, past month or two, and you have the Wheel of Fortune. So either something coming back around, there's a divine timing here. The Wheel of Fortune talks about divine timing. It talks about karmic connection. It talks about unplanned changes. The wheel takes a spin and directs you whether you like it or not, or bring somebody back into your life, or bring somebody new into your life. The wheel definitely says, you don't really have control over this, Pisces. In fact, you don't. The wheel does its own thing. The wheel talks about, stay calm. It may be confusing, but there's an unexpected turn of events that's coming. You can't control every aspect of your existence, and you shouldn't, try. So this says learn what you can from new opportunities, even if they're not what you're hoping for. If you've been knocked off path, the wheel even if it doesn't feel like it, is bringing you back around. So this could be somebody from the past. You guys are going to connect or communicate. This could be a new opportunity coming towards you. Both could be on the table here. The next card you have is your distant future. So over the next few months, and you have the Six of Pentacles. So feels as though it may be a past returning to a certain extent, because the Six of Pentacles is a generous energy, but it's also a charitable energy. So for some of you, it's a, okay, I miss you too. Or, maybe you haven't talked to this person. Maybe you've ghosted them, vice versa. Cross watchers can be reversed, but keep in mind, this is for the sign I'm reading for. So be nice in the comments to the sign I'm reading for. But the Six of Pentacles talks about, somebody giving somebody a chance, or somebody giving a situation a chance that maybe they're feeling like they have to a little bit. Again, like it's a charitable. So Pisces, you may have somebody coming in and you're like, I'm not really sure, but you're going to give it a chance because you kind of feel like, well, I should at least hear them out, or vice versa. You may be like, I do miss this person, and, there were some bad times, but maybe, I should see what they're up to and go from there. The next card you have is your immediate future. So throughout the month of November, and you have the Four of Cups. Man, Pisces, you guys are really much on this, like, I don't know if it's just feeling annoyed or feeling some sort of stress, or feeling, again, I think it comes down to this fear of, which way am I going? Which way am I not going? Because the Four of Cups talks about, feeling like you're taken for granted, or feeling like you're wasting your time, or Pisces, if you see my reads, I don't sugarcoat anything. This very much feels like the lull I was talking about. This Four of Cups kind of feels like, well, I don't care if the ship leaves. I don't care if the ship comes back. I'm not really interested in something new. I'm not really interested in the past. I'm not really sure what it is I want, which can be hard. But the Four of Cups is talking about, again, feeling taken for granted, or feeling like wasting your time. So there may be somebody coming towards you, and you're worried. Your biggest fear is, the ship has sailed. I've been there, done that. Are they going to treat me the same way that they did before, or feeling as though like nothing's going to change. So why should I, maybe the wheel brings this person back, and you're immediately like, well, nothing's going to change anyways. The next card you have is anything tangible throughout the month. Then this is very important, because you have the Hierophant card, which is Taurus's card. So you could be dealing with the Taurus, but the biggest thing here is self-improvement. So in all of this, with the Four of Swords that I talked about being from what I think is probably the past year or so, you've self-improved. But the one thing that you really should focus on too is the mental thoughts, or the mental energy, because the Hierophant talks about, again, work on self, self lessons and coping with different things. But at the same time, this is kind of like leaving it up for the universe, like letting the universe take the wheel, and instead of just assuming that, oh, the universe brought this person back and there's no way, or, I would love to reach out to this person, but there's no way that they talk to me. Instead of assuming that, start paying attention to the signs and start paying attention to your gut, because some of you are having a really hard time right now, Pisces. Some of you are in this like, oh, it's almost like just it feels very deep, and not necessarily bad, like deep or depressing, but more just let go and let God, or let go and let universe, whatever it is you believe in, because the Hierophant is saying, look, you will see signs, things will come your way. You'll know which direction to move, and you really just need to let go. You don't have control over this, Pisces. And if this person does come back, which, like I said, I feel like they will, or you'll return to them, there's different ways of looking at this. And I feel like you're looking at it one way automatically, instead of looking at it in different ways. And you may be like, well, fuck, Dark Dove, like they screwed me over, or we had a horrible time, or things were terrible. Well, if you think that, and that's mentally where you're going, then no, I wouldn't even, give them the time of day. But and I know it's not that easy. The next card you have is how you're feeling throughout the month, and you have the Two of Swords, which is exactly this. This is a decision that needs to be made. It's a stalemate. Either this person needs to be cut off completely, the connection needs to be purged. And I know it's easier said than done. A lot of people ask me, how do you purge? Well, people do it all different ways, but it's about disconnecting thoughts. It's about, every time you think of that person, say a different word, say dog. and then move on to a different thought. There are a lot of, and if you ever want to ask, I mean, I have different ways of doing that. And I've gotten really good at changing thought patterns, changing ways I'm thinking about things, or changing, like I said, one of the easiest ways, like if you're having a negative thought, I'll just scream out love. Or if I'm in the car driving and I'm like, oh my God, da, 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 and I find myself in a, that mental spot, I'll just be like, cat. And then I totally change it to, oh, okay, maybe I should make something creative for dinner. Again, cheesy, but it works for me. My point is the Two of Swords is a decision that needs to be made. And this isn't just a lighthearted decision. That's why you're having such a lull here. That's why there's kind of a rumble, because the Two of Swords is this connection that isn't going anywhere unless you choose for it to finally go. Like maybe you've got to get closure. Maybe you can't get closure with this person, but you can get closure ultimately with yourself. In other words, it's stagnant. It's the decision. It's a stalemate. The decision must be made. So even if you're like, well, I haven't talked to them in a year or haven't, dealt with them or whatnot, you still haven't made the conscious decision that this is no longer for you. And if you do want this, or, you find yourself in the same spot where you can't stop thinking about them or whatnot, then you may need to do a fishing expedition and be like, hey, will this person even, have a conversation with me? The next card you have are your hopes and fears for the outcome. And you have the Ace of Swords. Well, your hope is that you can see things clearly, that you can see what's, which direction, which path, is the road to travel for you, which path is going to be the best for you to take. Like I said, whoa, that's interesting. Just went to put the cards on the table and I needed two and they popped out. So I guess I have my two. The Ace of Swords, though, like I said, is being able to see clearly what your choice is. And it's clarity, it's power, it's logic. So it's you finally kind of coming out of this lull, going, lifting the gray clouds and going, whichever direction I want to go, there will be success here. And if you do, miss a certain person and want to be with them, there's a possibility that this could happen. And if not, at least you'll know. And that would be your clarity, or vice versa. If this person's been contacting you and you've been ignoring them, then, maybe having a conversation with them will give you, I feel like for some of you, you'll know immediately if this is somebody that, you're still meant to continue on with, or if this is somebody that, no, you know what, they've got their stuff going on or, we're just not a good fit. The minute we talk, we fight, whatever the case may be, you're going to have some sort of clarity here. The next card you have is your outcome, and you have the Lovers card. So talk about coming back around, Pisces. For a lot of you, this is where you're headed. The Lovers card can represent Gemini, okay? So Gemini, the Lovers card talks about Gemini. So you could be a Gemini or have Gemini placements or be dealing with a Gemini. But the Lovers coming out, I love, because obviously that means that you're going to be happy with somebody, or you're going to feel abundant with somebody, or you're going to, and as much as people are going to be like, oh God, I don't want to deal with the past. For a lot of you, this is a past energy. There's nothing here saying, oh, there's an Ace of Cups moment and some new energy's coming in, or an Ace of Wands. You have an Ace of Swords, which is clarity, but you don't have anything else here right now in particular saying, oh, this is, you missing somebody. And now you have the Lovers. This is, should I or shouldn't I give them time and attention? Then you have the Lovers. Fear, should I stay or should I go? And then you have the Lovers. So things are pointing in that direction. However, the Seven of Cups, though, talks about a few key issues here. If you do want to be with this person, there needs to be some sort of succinctness. And I know that sounds strange, but the Seven of Cups talks about maybe there were times when you had indiscretions, or they had indiscretions, or not even that, like, one foot in, one foot out the door for either one of you, because the Seven of Cups is temptations, it's options, it's choices. So if you truly want this person, don't make them an option, or don't allow them to make you an option. This needs to be, if this is going to really work, it needs to be something where you guys, the value of each other is so much stronger than the grass is greener or looking beyond. There has to be trust factors here. The Seven of Cups, again, is that temptation of options. Now, this could talk about, be careful that this isn't just a temptation of, hey, we're going to get together because we miss each other, but nothing's going to come of it. If you want that, then fine. But I feel like that would tip the scales to you having to, or them having to recover from, yet another, like, having to say goodbye or, end the connection again. So this mainly is telling me if you have other options and, you are, and you're, wanting to get back together with somebody from the past, I would clear those options first. Or I would, in essence, don't go into this with, people in your back pocket or vice versa. If they come towards you and they're like, oh yeah, I've been dating this person, this person, this person, and I'm dating this person, I have a date this Friday. Like, no, okay, this needs to be a coming together that's going to make both of you feel very secure in the relationship. Now, you have the Magician here, which talks about manifestation. Basically saying, whatever you want, you can have. If you want somebody from the past, if you miss the past, if you're hoping that they come back in, if you are hoping that you guys can make this work, you can, but it takes certain communication. Exactly what I was talking about with the 7 of Cups. The Magician is saying you can have this back. It's just about being realistic and knowing that it takes work. Now you have the 9 of Pentacles, which talks about values. What do you value? What does this situation bring to the table for you? If this person is of value to you as far as, you love them dearly and there was just a lot of fighting or it wasn't working out, maybe divine timing with this Wheel of Fortune is at play saying that this can happen because the 9 of Pentacles is abundance. Maybe, this is you feeling caged and this person comes in and now you're feeling freed. It's interesting because you have the 9 of Pentacles twice. And again, like I said, the 9 of Pentacles is what do you value? What is what do you bring to the table and what does this person bring to the table? And is it truly something that you both feel that you can live with, that you both feel like over all the bullshit, you want to get back together and you can see yourself finding that value? Because the 9 of Pentacles is lightening your load. If you are, enjoying how you're living now, continue to do so. But if you're feeling constricted, if you're feeling as though, you're missing out on something or someone that you've loved, or, maybe you've been, again, ignoring this person completely and you've decided it will never happen. We will never get back together. But in your heart of hearts, you miss them and you want to get back together. The 9 of Pentacles says, don't constrict yourself. It's be very careful not to, put yourself in a situation where, you're restricting it because of the what ifs or the past or whatnot. Maybe this is, the universe's way of saying, okay, divine timing is bringing you guys back together somehow. And, this is the time that we can actually see the value in each other and what we had. Very interesting because your Oracle card here is rescue and help is on the way. You may not have consciously called for it, but the universe is sending you some assistance. So if you've been hoping for, a boost or you've been hoping for a rescue, it's coming. So it's very, very interesting. I feel as though this is kind of saying, this person and you and this person reconnecting, even if it's just to talk, even if it's just to, know that you both still care, maybe a boost that you need, even if it does end up in a, closure moment. For a lot of you, this is going to turn back into